Question, Stuart. This is Linda.
Yes, Linda.
Sometimes, well, a lot of times lately,
You have
um,
to speak up, Linda.
oh, a lot of times, I feel energy swirling in my head to the point where my vision is impaired, and then I feel it exit through my crown chakra.
Mm.
Um, is that tension in my third eye center, or
Um, I hate to say it, but it is tension.
okay?
It is. And, the discipline is to bring all of that down into the chakra right below the navel. The mind will get quiet, and then you'll begin to receive, higher energy. You'll begin to, the first thing that'll happen is you're going to hear a very powerful home sound come down into you, and it'll go into the chakra system and help you to develop the chakra system. But what you described is a bit of tension that needs to be worked out. It's not a problem. It's part of the training of what I teach is how to turn that into chi, how to turn that into energy, a foundation, and to build the very core of your being. So just try to bring that energy down to the chakra below the navel, and it'll truly help you to develop yourself. It'll also quiet the mind and allow knowledge, wisdom, higher energy to come into you.
Okay, thank you.
Look, I went through that. Almost everybody goes through that kind of experience. Uh, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? This meditation it's a holistic approach to developing a spiritual life. Because in order for it to work, the entire chakra system has to be open so that we focus below the navel, we feel gratitude in our hearts, we open, we breathe into these chakras. The mind gets quiet because it's focused below the navel, which allows the Shakti, the energy, to flow through our entire system. And by flowing through the whole system, it develops every part of our inner being. It's a holistic approach. So, all of this and the things we experience are just telling us very often where we have to work and what we have to do in order to get the energy to truly flow. And then once you develop this, it really just becomes organic to your life. You don't just leave it in the meditation class, you take it wherever you go. Being centered no matter what you do during the day. That really is in itself a miracle. And that gives us the capacity to work out karma. Life no longer intimidates us. We're not threatened by the nonsense that other people do. We're capable of really allowing God's energy to guide us during the day, no matter what is going on during the day. I always repeat that thing, but I really love it, where, Bach was dying and all his disciples and students, they're all family, they're all crying and lamenting. And he said, why? What are you doing? He said, I'm just going to where the music comes from. Well, when we develop a chakra system inside, we allow our consciousness to go to where the music comes from. We allow it to go to the source of all creative energy, which then begins to nurture us. And whatever our creative things are in life, it begins to create life around us. The only impediment is each and every one of us. We are the only thing that keeps us from being spiritually enlightened. Everything in the universe is there to teach us how to do it. It's the greatest university that exists on earth, is the universe. God, spirit. The only impediment is each and every one of us. And then we're born here to learn how to transform those impediments into a connection with higher energy in the universe, into a spiritual life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? It's kind of a wonderful thing to accept. And it's also a wonderful thing to stop battling and fighting with, you know? To just open, let me open and surrender and grow spiritually, you know? Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question?
Stuart,
Yes, sorry.
what is the importance of routine, and
You have to speak up a bit.
what is the importance of routine, and when does it become a pattern?
I mean, routine, I mean, look, if you have a routine and develop habits that are positive habits, they're very important. But if your routine is just the same old boring stuff day after day, day in and day out, you know, it takes your life away. So routine can be a very healthy thing if in the routine we're using our energy to truly develop creative lives. Or routine could kill us. Everything, no matter how inspiring it was in the beginning, just gets boring through routine. At the same time, doing inner work, working at your life, developing your life, you know, not being a victim of life. You know, using your creative energy to continue to build an inner life that keeps you from getting into routines that are deadly. I mean, it's one of the reasons. I mean, look, I have like a dozen classes a week that I mean, it's, I mean, this is a routine, but it's certainly something that forces me to work very deeply on myself. I mean, today, I don't know, 45 people are in meditation between this class and the one in Europe. So yes, it's a routine, but it's a routine that really keeps me working in great depth on myself. And then it produces other things, you know? I mean, this last month, I've had a very serious problem with an ankle that I sprained the ligament, and you know, I couldn't barely even go out of the house, you know? So I had so this routine of teaching brought on, you know, I wrote a book of poetry. I mean, to keep myself from feeling like I'm living in some deadly, continuum of not doing anything.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Hey, Stuart, this is Sean.
Yes. So,
You just mentioned breathing into the navel chakra. Would you mind elaborate more on that? For example, are you talking about like imagining when you breathe in, you imagine some energy coming into the navel chakra and breathe out?
it's not imagining song. Look, that is the key to learning everything I teach. Keeping your attention, the mind focused on the navel chakra and opening the heart, breathing into the heart, and then afterwards breathing down into the chakra below the navel. Now, your mind focused in the chakra below that will open the very core of your being. It'll enable you to tap chi, it'll enable you to tap energy that will give you balance, strength, foundation inside. Then you take a breath into that chakra, and the breath, the prana, the energy of the breath will expand and strengthen that chakra. Understand? So it's absolutely an essential ingredient in not only learning the spiritual life, but really learning how to live in this world, building the core of your being, which is, in the Japanese call it the hara, the Chinese call it the tantien, and it's the very core of one's being. It has to develop for everything else to develop inside us. So the first breath is into the heart. You hold it and then you second breath is down below the navel. And you got to realize, you see something also that's very simple that almost nobody realizes. Breathing is the rhythm of the universe. Breath is life. Every time you inhale, you take in life. Every time you exhale, you let go of a part of yourself. So it's like when you inhale, it's I am, taking in all of life. When you exhale, that I am one with everything. So learning how to use the breath consciously is essential. And one of the real conscious uses of the breath is to bring it into the chakra below the navel, building the core. I mean, look, dancers, when they dance, when they really are at the pinnacle of their creative talents, they're centered in that chakra. Same thing with musicians when they play, they're centered there. That's where, singers, the greatest singers, they sing from there. They don't sing from the head or from the emotions. They sing from the core of their being. If their hearts are open, then really the songs are full of God's love,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I can only talk from my realm of experience, I know some of you, most of you are not into the arts, but I've been into the arts all my life. And I can only talk from what I've discovered in the arts is such a key to creation is the development of an inner life, being in tune with higher energy. letting it flow through you and create. And life itself, as I've always said, is the greatest work of art. No higher work of art than life itself. And if the chakra system is highly developed, that energy, that Shakti comes and it creates our life. You know, it really makes this magical world that we live in. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, well, there'll be a meditation class tomorrow night. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all, and thank you for being here. Thank you for asking the questions you ask that are really demanding of me, going deep inside myself. And just the very class itself is just a miracle to be able to do this with everybody. So God bless you all. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Stuart.
Thank you very much. Stuart.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.